Hello and welcome back into the Long Shot Podcast. We are now joined by a guy who completely embodies the long shot spirit and a guy who we've wanted to have on this podcast for quite some time. He was undrafted in 2015, bounced around the NFL a little bit, dealt with injury, dealt with being cut, spent a year in the XFL. And this time a year ago, he was not playing football at all. Instead, he was taking online classes to complete his master's in engineering. And now he is the starting quarterback for the Washington football team. Taylor, welcome to the Long Shot Podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's a cool experience right here.
No, it's a cool experience for us. I got to tell you, when watching you in the wild card game last year, I imagine I'm a part of many others, but I immediately became a fan, and since then have wanted to have you on. So thank you for joining us. You're on your bye week right now. First and foremost, I'm just curious, what does that kind of look like? Because 2 weeks off, or I guess a full week off, is a foreign concept to an NBA player.
Yeah, so you kind of date back to when training camp started. So it's probably like late July, let's say 23rd. And we've been nonstop practicing since then. So that's been a little over 3 months now of just practicing and grinding. So when you get to this part of the year, coaches know that you need to get your mind away from football a little bit, get your bodies back right. So it was big for us. It came at a good time. We're in a little struggle bus right now. So had some guys banged up. So he canceled practice. Let the guys go see their families, and that's why I'm back down here in Georgia, seeing family, seeing my little nephew, and it's a good time to kind of get away.
Love it, man. I think balance is huge. Obviously, I'm curious for you, how do you, obviously you spend so much time preparation, film, practice, lift, all that sort of stuff, taking care of your body. What does it look like to get away from football for a little bit for you?
Yeah, I just try to do stuff that I enjoy, whether that's like go golfing, just taking like nice hikes, something to try and get my mind off of football, but also something that I enjoy doing. So, like I just said, golfing and taking long hikes and just spending time with family, catching up with people that, you haven't talked to in months. So it's a good time to kind of get back to baseline.
Are you a stick? Because Davis and I are pretty amateur golfers. We like to get out there and hack around a little bit. But I know that, like, for whatever reason, being a quarterback translates to being a really good golfer, I feel like, for some reason. So I imagine you probably fall in that camp as well.
I will say I've picked it up in the last couple of years, and I'm okay. I'll shoot in like the high 80s, which, bogey golf is good with me.
Great golf. Bogey golf is great golf. There's no
great
shame
golf.
in bogey golf.
But, I've been around some quarterbacks that, Sam Bradford, for instance, show up to a training camp, and I was like, hey, man, what'd you do? He said, I play a lot of golf. I said, what are you shooting? He's like, well, I shot a 67 yesterday, hit a hole in one. I'm like, oh. I was like, is that your first hole in one? He's like, no, it's my fifth or sixth. And I was like, all right, dude. Like, what are you doing playing football?
Wasn't he like athlete of the year for both football and golf in like high school or something like that? He's like a crazy athlete.
I'm sure he was, but he's shooting in the 60s consistently. That's some damn good golf.
That's high level.
Taylor, did you play other sports in high school? Because I know you were like a legendary. You talk about being back in Georgia. You're like a legendary high school Georgia quarterback. Broke all sorts of records. Did you play other sports as well, or was it football only?
I was really big into baseball. I played my freshman year, and then there's just something happened my freshman year of baseball where I was, spring practice for football was going on, and I was on the baseball field, and I just kept on catching myself looking over at the football field and wanting to be down there. And from that moment on, I knew I wanted to just focus on football. So I probably made the right choice.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I want to ask a little bit about just how this year has been for you. We highlighted a little bit of your background, but you've basically just kind of been one of those like stay ready so you don't have to get ready guys. You've taken advantage of every opportunity and parlayed it into more opportunity. Now you're in this position where, you're a starting quarterback. You kind of know what to expect week in and week out, at least from your role standpoint. How has that helped you kind of develop confidence and clarity over how you're playing, a game plan, and just like how you kind of fit into this league?
Yeah, it kind of goes both ways. So it's nice knowing that you're a starter, so you can, get all the reps throughout the week and know that you'll be playing on that Sunday. But at the same time, I'm still kind of new to this. I'm 28 years old. I've been in the league for about 6-7 years now, but I still kind of feel like new just because I haven't played at this level this much. So there are some moments where you kind of just feel like the world's closing in on you. You want to be perfect, and it's almost like you try too hard instead of just going out there having fun, just playing the game that you've always played, and everything happened natural. So there's a fine line there. There's definitely a medium to where you want to have fun, but you obviously be prepared. But like you were saying earlier, there's a big emphasis on balance, in my mind. Whether that's going out there and having a lot of fun, but also being prepared and going out there and try to win games. So I think one too much either way kind of gets you in trouble. So yeah, I'm just trying to find that good balance right now.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I went through. My first year as a professional, spent a lot of time in the G League, and I couldn't miss in the G League. And then whenever I got opportunities in the NBA, it was like I literally couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. Like I couldn't make anything ever. And so much of like shooting, as I imagine, honestly, being a quarterback is like comfort, confidence, feeling like you can just kind of play your game. And it's not something that you can just fake either, right? Like you can like say, like I used to say before games, like I'm a bad motherfucker. Like I just go out there and like let it fly. But it's different once you step in between the lines, and then all of a sudden, for you, it's a little different than me. Like you got people running at you trying to take your head off. But how, like for me, so much of it was like developing confidence through like preparation, knowing I'm prepared, but then also like gaining little moments of like experiencing success.
Yep.
For you as a quarterback, it's a different level of responsibility because you go from being a backup to not only getting, live reps, but now all of a sudden you're the captain of an offense. So you have to you have to have the entire offense believe in what you're doing, not only yourself, which is just another level of it. Like I just had to sit in the corner and make a shot when someone was throwing to me. You have to run the whole ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a difficult part, you're trying to personally be on all your P's and Q's and be ready to go. But at the same time, you have to make sure everyone else knows their thing. So yeah, there's a lot of responsibilities that comes with it. But at the same time, just being in this position for a long time, being a quarterback, I like having that responsibility. I feel like I can handle it, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So, and again, like I said earlier, the biggest thing is, I go in every week prepared. I feel great about it. We have great weeks of practice. And the next thing is going out to practice and having fun with it. So those guys want to go play football. Their bodies are hurting a little bit. Maybe they don't feel like, you know how it is traveling all the time. Your body's just not there sometimes. But when you have someone there, trying to make it fun and enjoying it, it makes it a lot more easier.
You have, you've certainly embraced that role. And I remember after the wild card game last year, your teammates were coming out like, yeah, that's a guy who I want in our locker room. That's a guy who I want to play with. Duncan alluded to this, but you have played with a fearless tenacity. I think that's been part of your shtick. Can you just provide a little context? Because a lot of our listeners are basketball fans. Can you provide a little context as to what it's like to have 300-pound freak athletes just trying to kill you every time that you have the ball, which as a quarterback is every play?
Yeah. It's when you kind of say it like that, it's kind of terrifying. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to try and knock your head off, but it just adds to the adrenaline of the game. And quite honestly, when you get hit by those guys, it almost brings you back to earth and you kind of play better. So like there's some games where I won't get hit for the whole first quarter and I still kind of feel the jitters. And once I get hit once by those guys, I'm like, okay, let's play some football. But yeah, I grew up watching Brett Favre, and he had a lot of passion for the game. He had a lot of fun out there, and he looked like a young kid out in the backyard, just, playing football. And, that's who I fell in love with as a kid. And that's who I kind of try and play like. So you kind of see that on the field sometimes.
That reminds me of that clip of Leonard Fournette that I saw this week of he's just getting like hit, like crushed, and he's just laughing the entire time. Like he's like mic'd up. Like, dude, that's like like that you saying like I like getting hit. It like kind of brings me alive, which I kind of get, but it's also in the best way, like kind of borderline like psycho behavior. But like I feel like with football, that's a line that you have to like learn how to walk. Like it's a fearless kind of approach that if you're timid out there, if you're like scared to get hit, then you're dead in the water, right? I mean, I got to imagine.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at the game of football, you're going to get hit. And, if you're scared, it's going to happen regardless. You might as well not even think about it, So that's how I go about it. I have to have trust in those 5 guys up front to do their job. And if I'm thinking about something else, I can't do my job right. So that's why they call it the ultimate team game, man. All 11 players on the field have to be doing their job for you to have a chance to be successful. So it's definitely a cool game.
Davis alluded a little bit to your high school career. I want to talk a little bit about your college career. Going to a small college, a little bit of a unconventional path to being a professional, something I can relate to. I played at a Division III school before I transferred to Michigan. And I'm curious, like everybody kind of talks about, going to a small school as a negative. I'm curious if you felt going to a small school, having the opportunity to play a lot, start games all 4 years for you, like how did that prepare you in a unique way versus like if you had gone maybe to a Power 5 school, maybe not had all, as many snaps throughout your career? Like, do you feel like there's some like advantage to that as well?
100%. I mean, I think the best way to get better is to play and, experience and playing. Like, yeah, I could have, like, maybe say Georgia came in late and offered me. That's my dream school. And I would have gone there. And let's say I sat behind the guys for 3 years, maybe 4 years, and got 1 year starting. I'm not getting any better, those 4. I mean, maybe I am throughout practice and stuff, but, going to that small school and playing for 4 years, you learn a lot. And, I train these young kids here in Georgia sometimes, and, they're all hell bent on getting these big offers. I'm like, hey, guys, it's okay to go to a smaller school and play for 4 years, because if you're good enough to go to the NFL, they're going to find you. It doesn't matter where you go, they're going to find you. So, you start seeing a lot more guys that are undrafted and from smaller schools stay in the league longer. And I think that's, credit to them just playing a lot, maturing throughout those years, and, just having a little chip on their shoulder.
What is that, do you think, Taylor? Because I agree with you. And it's actually something I wrote down I wanted to ask you about is, Duncan, like he said, the long shot, we're all about like the undrafted guy. We try to shine light on that on this podcast. It seems way more common in the NFL that you come across those guys than in the NBA. If you look at NBA rosters, it's a bunch of high major guys who went to Kentucky and North Carolina and UCLA. In the NFL, it's a little bit different. Do you think it's easier to find those diamonds in the rough? Like, what is it that makes it that way in the NFL?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think it has a lot to do with, maybe style of play. The big thing about the NFL now that you don't really see in college is special teams. A lot of players make their kind of introduction into the league through special teams. You can find a lot of linebackers that can be second, third, fourth string linebackers. Same thing with receivers, stuff like that. So you have to find the guy that's going to be a good second, third, fourth string receiver, but can also be a great special teamer. And a lot of those guys are undrafted guys, guys that will do anything to go out there and just play some football. They're not high maintenance guys. They just love the game of football. So that's when you see a lot of undrafted guys kind of make their way through that avenue, which is great. I think if you just go out there and work hard and, provide yourself every day to be good at that special team, then, hey, whatever pays the bills, pays the bills,
Yeah. I want to ask about what goes into prep for a week. You know, for example, like we play 82 games. When we have like a 2-day prep, it might look a little bit different than a back-to-back, obviously, but like realistically, we can only do so much in preparation for a game. You guys devote an entire week of preparation for one game. For you personally, what does that look like in terms of like what you're devoting to on-field reps, film study? Like, are you basically just watching every single coverage that every defense could run, or trends? Like, how are you kind of breaking it down? Because I do think that there is a line also of like too much information can be crippling, because then you're just overanalyzing the whole time. Like I've also experienced that, and I'm wondering, like, as a quarterback, how you kind of balance that.
Yeah, it's tough. So I'll kind of take you through my week. So say like we play a game on Sunday. We'll come in on Monday, have like a little lift afterwards, and then watch the game tape from that previous game. Tuesdays are usually our days off, but as quarterbacks, we come in, get a lift, and then we usually watch about 3 or 4 games of that next upcoming opponent. So like next week, Tuesday, I'll be watching about 3 or 4 games of Tampa. And then Wednesday comes around, we get our base game plan. So a lot of the first and second down plays that we like, a lot of the run plays that we like, and we'll go and practice that on Wednesday. And then Thursday is our, third down days. So we go watch a bunch of third downs, see what they like to do in certain situations on the field, 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 8, and kind of try and come up with some plays that we feel good about that. Fridays, red zone days. So when you get down in the red zone, what do they like to do? Same thing. And then Saturday is kind of one of those walkthroughs where we kind of walk through it all and make sure everyone's on the same page. And then Sunday, go play, and Monday, do it all over again. So, there's lots of film watching. So Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm usually at the facility from 6:30 to 6:30, there for about 12 hours. I would say about 5 or 6 of those hours are watching film, if not more. So a lot of it's mental. But again, it's fun. I'd rather not be doing anything else.
How do you, like, you have all this game film in your mind that you've watched an entire week? How do you still go out and like let your instincts as an athlete take over? Because I still feel like you got to walk that line between both, right? Like, you have to know what coverage the defense is, but still, once you know that, you still have to like sling it and like be an athlete and make a play and show off your skill level. So like for you personally, like, is it every single play is broken down, like, I got to read exactly what this defense is doing? Or is it like, I'm showing how little I know about football, but like, or is it like snap the ball, get a kind of general concept of what they're in, and like, let's go make a fucking play?
A little bit of both. Again, like, there's some times where, like Aaron Rodgers is the best at it. He uses like that cadence where he pretends like he's about to snap the ball. He sees, some rotation of the safeties. He knows what they're about to do. And then he'll kind of adjust from there and get them into a better play and stuff like that. So, most of it's pre-snap. When you start looking at, people lining up and what they like to do throughout film, and you kind of get a gauge of what they're about to do. And whatever play is called, you have to remember through that week what we talked about. If the nickel decides to blitz on this play, you have to know that, our offensive line is going out to them and you're protected, and you want to keep your read on the backside. It's just a lot of stuff that you have to think about in split seconds. And again, that's the beauty of the game. All 11 guys have to think that way at the same time for you to be successful. So, it's a lot of work, but when things are going good, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. The mental side is obviously, and it's all high level of sports, but I really do feel like the quarterback position, particularly, granted, I've never played it, but I can only imagine. And there's the other side of that too, of the mental side of dealing with adversity, which is if you go out, throw an interception, lose a game, whatever. First of all, throw an interception, you're now off the field. You have zero control of what happens on the field. You have to live with that play. The other side of football is if you lose a game, have a bad game, you have an entire week that you have to relive that loss. Basketball, it's like it's next play speed, right? Like something happens, I'm on to the next play. We lose a game, we probably got another one the next day, if not the day after that. How do you like navigate the learning from setbacks and adversity, and not like just being like ignorant to the fact that those can be learning experiences, but then also like moving forward and saying like I can't live in those spaces too long?
Yeah, I mean, you just hit it on the head. I mean, I feel like if you dwell in those bad situations, like say you throw a pick, and if you dwell in that for too long, it's going to keep affecting your play. And you know that if you miss a couple of open shots, you can't let it get to you. You got to just keep firing them, And so I always tell myself, and I kind of learned this in college, a good setback is the possibility for a comeback. So when I throw a pick, I'm like, okay, this is just going to put me in a situation where I can come back and do right by this, if that makes sense. Like week 2 against the Giants, we're winning. We're in a 4-minute deal, trying to run the clock out. I throw an interception. They kick a field goal. We're down by 2. And, I thought I lost the game when I threw that pick. Well, it just gave me an opportunity, 5 minutes later with 2 minutes left to go down there and win the game. And we did just that. So it's huge in football to have a short-term memory. One play's bad, and that's fine. Don't let it ruin the rest of the night.
When last year at this time, when you were studying to get a master's, what's going through your mind as it relates to football? Is it still like, are you still training every day? Is it something that you're still very actively pursuing? Where were you at with football at that point?
So I was training every day, but I like working out. I like doing all that stuff. I like staying active. So I was, walking 5 to 10 miles a day and lifting and training some kids on the field. And I just enjoyed it, but deep down in my mind, I thought I was done. I thought I was done with football. But again, I was really proud of myself because I kept on going to the field and training these high school and JUCO kids, and I would throw with them. And I would just remember all the things I learned throughout the years and train them at it. And I kept practicing at it. So, I mean, I got better through those, months I wasn't playing. But I will say deep down, I thought I was completely done and I was going to have to find a new chapter of my life. So for what's going on right now, it's a blessing. I don't know if you guys know like the reason they brought me up to Washington. I don't know if you guys remember last year at Denver Broncos, all their quarterbacks got COVID, and they had a receiver play quarterback. Well, Washington at the time was like, yeah, we can't have that. So they called me up to be the emergency COVID quarterback. So I'm in meetings, I'm like 30 feet behind everybody. I'm nowhere near anyone. At practice, I'm like 10 yards away from everyone, not getting any reps. And then a couple things happen here and there, and then I'm playing Tom Brady in the playoffs. So it's been a wild ride.
Wait, that's incredible. You have to feel like a little bit of an outcast, right? Like it's like you have a 10-foot pole. It's like you're the Grinch. You're like walking around. You like can't get close to anybody. You're not even getting reps.
No, man. I'm talking about, we're in the team meeting room, and only quarterbacks were allowed to meet in person last year. So the quarterbacks meet in the team meeting room. They put me in the last row of the team meeting room, and they're about 50 feet in front of me, just talking and stuff. And they're throwing me water bottles and sandwiches back there, making sure I'm still alive. But yeah, go out to practice, get no reps, just there in case of emergency, and a couple things happen here and there. And like I said, and here we are.
Did you have a moment after that game, the wild card game, or maybe at some point in the offseason when you inked your 2-year deal, of like realization of just how fast those, whatever, 3, 4, 5 months, everything just changed?
Well, I probably had that moment right after the game. I was hurting there for a little bit. I separated my shoulder that game, and they gave me a couple pills. Like, I was feeling pretty good at home, and kind of looking back at everything that just happened, and I'm thinking, it just changed my life. I'm probably been in the league for another 2+ years, and just kind of think back at where I was just a couple months prior. I would have never thought that would happen. So, I got home around 1:30 in the morning after that game. I maybe got 45 minutes of sleep, just kind of answering text messages, calling family. So yeah, I stayed up until about 7 a.m. that morning, just kind of soaking it all in.
Look at you now, starting in the NFL, Bud Light deal, the Bud Heinicke. You're rocking the Bud Light hat.
At high level, man.
This guy's big time now.
Hey man, when you get free beer, you got to take it.
Nah, you got to jump at that one for sure.
Taylor, I wanted to ask you about pre-game fits with like the walk-in picture, because I was going through your Instagram and I see you're wearing like the nice suits. You know, you look dapper. I think maybe there's pressure on the quarterback to come across that way. Like maybe you have to look super sharp. But Duncan's walking into games in like sweats and a t-shirt. I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to get him to elevate his game a little bit. Is there like a dress code that you guys have? Are you supposed to be looking sharp, or is that just personal preference?
So I'm more on your side, Duncan. I'd rather wear just sweats everywhere.
I'm cozy fam over here, man. I just keep team cozy all day. That's where I live.
Yeah. But, this off season, with away trips, we're supposed to be looking nice. And, instead of just wearing the classic team polo and some khakis, I decided to, put a little style in there. So I had some people help me out with it. And, it's cool because I've never been this way. I've never really had the desire to kind of have suits like that. But, when you kind of see them on yourself, it's pretty cool.
Are you, I imagine you're still like close with a lot of, whether it be your high school teammates or high school friends, like you keep up with all those people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if you get, and it's all like in good fun, but like I'm the same sort of way. I'm still close. Davis and I went to high school together, all that sort of stuff. Do you get kind of like ragged on when you do something like that? Like all of a sudden you start showing up in suits and was like, oh, all right, big money now. Like my man's changed up. Like, do you get that same sort of treatment?
Oh yeah, you get you've changed, you can't hide money, all this stuff. Yeah.
Let me hold a dollar, all that sort of stuff. All that
exactly.
Stuff. That's part of the reason why I stay team cozy, because it's just stay in the shadows. You know what I mean? But I will say I've been on your IG. The suit game is certainly strong.
It's sharp.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, you're doing more than trying. I want to ask about your process in those moments where things are uncertain, how you kind of build the resolve to stay true to a routine, stay true to, the day in, day out commitment, when in reality there is uncertainty, but you still have that day in, day out, like I'm dedicated to this process.
Yeah. I think it comes down to something as simple as just, control what you can control. And our head coach talks about it every day. He talks about attitude, preparation, and effort. And those are 3 things that you can control every day. And I feel like if you go into every day with a good attitude and, you put forth the effort, that's all you can do. And, sitting back and kind of thinking of what can happen if this, if that, I think that's just, poisonous to the brain. It can hold you back and make you think, thoughts that you shouldn't be thinking. And so I just try to be positive every day. I go in there, work hard, and whatever happens, happens. And I can close my eyes every night and put my head on that pillow knowing that, I did everything I could. And, that's good enough for me.
Do you do any sort of like meditation, visualization, anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to do a lot of that after practice, after our whole day at the facility. I'm usually done around like 4:30, and we have a couple float tanks, and I find those very, very helpful. Kind of just floating there for an hour and listen to some nice music and kind of just turn your brain off a little bit. And I found that to help me a lot.
Those are the sensory deprivation ones, right? So it's like you're like all your sense are just off and you're just like chilling. Yeah. I've only done those I think once or twice, but it's definitely a cool experience. That's pretty cool. You guys have those in the facility.
Yeah.
What are you listening to, Taylor, in the float tank? What's in the headphones?
They just got some, nice meditation music. It feels like I don't know, like when you're laying down there and you close your eyes, it feels like you're just floating on a cloud. and they got this like nice music, and you're really just relaxing, kind of just turn your brain off. And I do hate it when it says your time is up and you kind of just jump up. I'm like, man, I could have done this for another 2 hours, but no, it's a good deal.
What's in the headphones pregame? Are you like Georgia country roots, or are you been taken over by like maybe some of your teammates, hip hop, rap? Like what are we vibing to?
It's funny you asked that, man. I've never been a country fan. Being from Georgia, people are like, what the hell is wrong with you? But I've never been on the country train. And, I like some hip hop and some rap, but, a lot of it starts to sound the same to me. But my favorite band right now that I can listen to nonstop is 21 Pilots. And yeah, I can listen to them all day, it's funny you asked because they got a concert here on Saturday, which I'll be going to. So those guys are usually, or I might listen to a podcast. I might be listening to like a little Joe Rogan podcast. You never know.
Hey, mix in the long shot there. Throw it in the rotation. That certainly won't hurt.
Taylor, I just wanted you to know I recently got a Planet Fitness gym membership, and they've got a hydro massage they give you for 10 minutes if you want. And so I can totally relate to you. When that thing hits 0, there is nothing worse than knowing that your time is up.
What is a hydro massage?
You're like laying on a bed and they blowing water from the bottom. It's like, it's moving up and down. Really works the muscles. It's good stuff.
Good for Planet Fitness, up in their game. That's high level stuff.
Shout out Planet Fitness.
All right, Taylor. Well, appreciate you coming on, especially on your bye week. I'm sure there's all sorts of things you could be doing that's more enjoyable than coming on the Long Shot podcast. But we appreciate your presence. Congrats on the Bud Light deal. That is as much as anything else, even though you certainly got a lot going for you. So thanks for coming on, and looking forward to catching up soon. And good luck here in a couple weeks.
Appreciate you guys, man. Y'all take care.